Okay, well, welcome to SU Pod Especially Heinous. I'm Gabe.
I'm Tasha.
We're on season 6, episode 18, Pure.
Oh, this fucking episode.
I know.
Because my computer was my computer was dumb. I dropped it in a parking lot and had to get it fucking fixed. I had all my notes done and stuff, so I've rewatched this like 3 times.
Me too. I watched it 2 3/4 times. I had to watch it a little bit today because I was like, it's been a couple weeks.
So did I. We're so professional.
I know. Opening scene, a mom is fixing her daughter's dress for a dance, and the daughter is kind of crying and anxious, and she's like, I'm gonna fucking puke. He's gonna be here any second. She's like, chill out. The phone rings, they let the machine pick it up, and a man starts leaving a graphic message. Your daughter's the best sex I ever had, especially when she was calling mommy, whatever.
Yeah.
And the mom picks up the phone and is like, you fucking pervert, and hangs up the phone, turns around immediately, and she's like, who was that? To her like 12-year-old daughter. She's like, I don't know. She's like, I don't know. It was a prank call. You're freaking out. If that's one of your little fucking friends trying to make a joke, and the daughter's just like, I have no idea what's going on. My date's going to be here.
I'm freaking out.
And then the mom was like, hold on, I got to call your sister because she hasn't been home yet. And she's supposed to be. She calls her daughter's cell phone. It cuts to a girl like tied up with duct tape over her mouth. And she's like screaming, and she's got a big bruise on her cheek. A man grabs the phone and says, she can't come to the phone. She's tied up right now. Oh my God.
We don't see his face.
You don't see his face. Yeah. It's scary. Cut to the precinct. The squad's going over the missing girl's case. Her name is Kaylee Sellers. So Kaylee didn't have any plans written down for the night. Toot says that the rapist hasn't called back and the phones are tapped, but Munch thinks it's because the mom keeps calling the precinct every 10 minutes and the guy can't get through.
Munch was a total bitch about that, by the way.
I know.
It's like, oh, the mom keeps calling the fucking her daughter is
right.
abducted and being assaulted.
Yeah.
But, so annoying.
Right. Okay, so Kaylee works for the law firm Henschel and Langen as a bike messenger. They have a big criminal defense department, as we know, because of Langen.
Trevor.
Benson is now at the firm looking through their non-incarcerated client list, as in people that maybe they put away that got out and are maybe taking Kaylee as revenge. Her bike is also missing. Her last delivery on the day she went missing was 4:52 in the afternoon. She went missing between the delivery location and home, but it's too much ground to cover for canvassing. Stabler gets a call from Benson. They need to turn on the TV.
You wouldn't think 2 blocks would be too much, but...
All right. Do you know how many 2 blocks there are in the city? Now we're at the law offices of Henschel and Langen. Benson and Langen and Miss Sellers are discussing a press conference. Langen thinks this is about who gets the most press time in the law firm or the cop, blah, blah, blah. And Benson's like, this is not about that. We just need to keep control of info that's being released to the public. Langen brings up the 48-hour rule. It's the time frame that usually people get murdered. Mm-hmm. But fucking Langen is misusing the 48-hour rule because Kaylee is older. This usually applies to kids that are minors. Miss Sellers is pissed at Benson because they haven't done shit, which... I don't know, man. They're just doing what they can. But she's a mom, dude. She's fucking scared.
Well, and it's going to come out at whoever is listening, I can't imagine being in that position and not fucking biting the head off of everybody.
And this lady is like a really great actress, too. Mm-hmm. She tells Benson that Kaylee has been held for at least 16 hours and the police haven't done anything. And she wants to do this fucking conference now.
Benson's like, I haven't had a nap in 4 years, but sure.
Yeah. She's like, here, take this tomato during these trying times.
It's my last one.
I should have got the 2 for $1. God damn it. So in the press conference, Miss Seller gives background info on Kaylee. She's planning to go to NYU in law school. She's trying to pay for her tuition all on her own, which is so fucking... that just doesn't happen. The mom is begging the public for information. Reporters start asking her for the tape, but Benson comes in and says that the DA isn't releasing that right now. Another reporter asks Mrs. Sellers if Kaylee has any alcohol or substance abuse problems. She says that no, she's never even had a drink. So they continue to ask her questions, and this office manager comes over and tells Benson that she needs to talk to her.
Her name is Mindy Mayhern, which I found to be an adorable little office manager name.
Mrs. Sellers continues on with the press conference. She begs for Kaylee to be released, and she says she'll give them everything she has. Just don't hurt her anymore and let her come home. She's such a good actress.
She is, and I looked her up because she looked super familiar, and...
She did.
Nothing.
You know who she reminded me of?
Who?
The mom from Modern Family.
I was just going to say the mom from Modern Family.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
yeah.
agreed.
Wow. Yep.
I wish I would have said my thought out loud so we would have had another same time.
We did. Usually you say it and then I go, oh my God, I was going to say the same thing.
I know, but I was just going to say it, so it wasn't good enough.
We could have done it at the exact same time.
The mom from Modern Family.
Langan closes out the press conference and says that Kaylee is a beloved employee at the firm, and they are putting up a $10K reward for any information on Kaylee's whereabouts. She's part of their family. And then he refers them to the fucking SVU tip line, which, ugh.
Everybody's like, oh, fucking awesome.
And then cut to the SVU squad room, and they're all watching. Munch says the tip line is about to be a, quote, crap storm. Cragen tells them that no one is going home. They're all on overtime due to all the leads that will need to be tracked down. Immediately calls start rolling in. And then Cragen goes to his office to take calls from the press.
Back at the law firm, Benny walks and talks with Mindy Mayhern, the office manager. She's a real cheeky gal. We just cut another cycle jockey loose on account of his frequent pit stops at local gentlemen's joints. She
has like victory curls.
Yeah. So
and maybe roller skates because she's got to get around. I don't know.
She's efficient and on top of her gig.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why she not only is a great imaginary character.
She's a great imaginary friend.
This transfers over into real life. She actually spent 20 years as an office manager to prepare for this role. So...
That's very Daniel Day-Lewis of her.
Yeah. So they fired a bike messenger because he was going to strip clubs on his shifts. Now all the messengers have cell phones with GPS chips. She checked the tracker when she found out Kaylee was missing, but the cell phone hadn't been turned on until a few minutes ago. She takes Benson into a room that's designated for this one computer in the dark and shows the tracking of Kaylee's phone. According to our electronic squealer, it looks like she's hopping down 8th Avenue. She's on the move, Gumshoe.
Electronic squealer.
So be you.
Grab your huge, oversized magnifying glass. Detective work is in need.
Boots on the ground, Gumshoe. This IP tells us that PIs need to get on the case.
Ha-cha-cha-cha. Do you want a cheeseburger and a milkshake? Well, hey, wrong job. Okay. I'm sorry.
Not me. I'm a woman in these trying times. I'll have this tomato. Thanks. Okay. Benny hops on the radio, and we cut to Toots in his driving gloves with Munch riding along. They're in the neighborhood that Mindy Mayhern was telling him about, so they get right on it. Benny's updating them on the phone's movement through the radio, and the phone stops, and the detectives see that the only stopped vehicle on the street is a garbage truck. Munch and Toots ask the sanitation worker to empty the load. Can you imagine being a fucking sanitation worker, and not only that, but in New York, and these cops come up and they're like, hey, police, dump out all of your trash. I'd be like, oh my fucking God. I got up at 3 a.m. They let him know about the phone and that there may have been a girl in a load that he picked up. And he tells him if she was alive when she was put in the truck, she isn't anymore because he just ran the compactor. Ooh. Cut to that scene in Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
In the precinct, we've got a Cragen Stabler casual button-downs walk and talk. Kaylee wasn't in the garbage truck, but the phone was. The phone could have been tossed. Then the compression could have pressed buttons to turn it on after it was in the truck and made it call the last number that was dialed, which is her mom, Miss Sellers. The phone tap only recorded garbage noises. So just my ex talking about playing poker online.
Yes. Just talking about
or something. I don't know. I don't know what it sounded like. Cragen says that Munch and Toots are going through the garbage the phone was found in. Taro's working on the phone, but it's obviously in rough shape. Just then, as Cragen and Stabler frame our screen, fucking Martin goddamn Short walks through those double doors. We don't have to go through any of his credits, correct? Right?
No, we don't.
He's been actively relevant since before we were born up through present day. I think you can tell what generation you're from based on what Martin Short you have a core memory of.
Yeah.
And for me, it's Clifford. He plays a little boy, but he's an adult man. And
yes.
The dad from Beethoven. Fuck, why can't I remember his name? But he plays his like...
Charles Grodin.
Yes. And I just remember, I think about it all the time. The part where he goes, can you just be normal for 5 seconds? And he's like...
Yeah.
And obviously, he's been in a million things. He's fabulous. When he and Steve Martin get together, it's incredible.
I know.
Okay. Anyway, Martin Short is in this episode, so we know it's going to be good. He lets them know that he's seen Kaylee right before the press conference. A man had her by the hair and she looked terrified. He didn't get a good look at the guy, but did notice that he had heterochromia, which is one brown eye and one blue eye. Stabler grabs his little Coppin notebook to write down all the deets and asks where this guy saw Kaylee. And he goes, it was in a vision. Stabes and Cragen both respond with Gabe's blinking guy gif. Blink, blink.
I like how you call that Gabe's when it's like completely it's a dude.
I know, it's very
just like not mine at all, but it's like
it's
I love
very
it.
popular, but to me it's only associated with you.
Yeah.
When I use it, I feel like I have to put the subtext credits underneath. Cragen dismisses him, but he goes, look, I know what you're thinking. And these guys get real sarcastic. Stabler's like, of course you do, you're psychic. Sarcasm. He ignores their sass and he tells them his name is Sebastian Ballantyne. He's worked with other departments on missing persons cases. Stabler double takes and goes, the Sebastian Ballantyne? You've heard of me? No. Oh, and then he answers his flip phone.
That was great.
It was so fucking funny. I laughed too hard at it and I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Cragen has...
It was good.
Yeah, it was good. Cragen has Sebastian escorted out, but he gives his card to Cragen. $3.95 a minute? I've got zingers too. And he and Stabler just keep high-fiving. So many high fives. Stabes lets Cragen know that the call was from Teru with updates on Kaylee's cell. Mm-hmm. And Cragen goes, oh my God, get going. Wait, did you hear my joke? Great, they become me and you. Wait, did you hear my joke? Did you hear the joke I said?
Yeah.
You didn't laugh. Oh, you were on the phone.
I'll wait. Okay, so now Stabler's at the Tower Lab. Morales says that the phone is cheap but has a lot of bells and whistles, including a camera.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
A camera phone.
A picture was found from this morning. Kaylee's tied up with tape over her mouth and looks beat up, and Stabler's glad that they know she made it through the night. 2 other pics were found on the phone from a week ago. One is of Kaylee and a dude. Kaylee looks uncomfortable. In the next picture, the guy is trying to kiss her and she's pushing him away. So probably not her boyfriend. And Stabler's like, who the fuck is this guy?
Just a hilarious photo to have.
The pictures.
Like, look at this evidence.
Yeah, it was very blatantly. She was like crossed her arms like,
I don't like this.
No.
It was the cover of a 90s rom-com.
Exactly.
Like eventually they'll be in love, but not right now.
Yeah. Gerard Depardieu is like, give me that green card. Wait, no, that was from the 90s.
Gerard Depardieu.
I don't know where that came from.
I was gonna say,
shit.
what is that? What recent Gerard Depardieu thing?
I don't know.
Has him floating around the front of your brain?
I do not know. Cut to Sellers' house. Kaylee's sister Chloe IDs the guy from the cell phone pics. She tells Benson and Stabler that he's Kaylee's old high school boyfriend named Jake Ostrander. They broke up last summer and Kaylee hated him. So Mrs. Sellers is up in Kaylee's room doing a reading with a psychic. Who is that? Ooh. Fucking Sebastian Ballantyne. By the way, that's with a B.
Ballantyne.
B as in boy, not V. So the music gets all swelly and they run up there. Oh, Sebastian is caressing Kaylee's clothes, saying, I can sense she's very sweet and kind-hearted. Then picks up a pair of Kaylee's like see-through lacy underwear and is holding them and is like, she's a Gemini, isn't she? Miss Sellers is like, oh my God, yes! She is convinced that he can see Kaylee and that she's alive. Benny and Stabes come into the room, and Stabler's like, what the fuck are you doing here? Miss Sellers tells him that she is convinced that Ballantyne can see Kaylee and that she's still alive. Sebastian says, and you're gonna find her. Stabler fucking manhandles Sebastian out of the room. He wants to know what his fucking goddamn angle is. Sebastian just says he's trying to help. I keep seeing a serial port and a computer cord. And Stabler says, oh my God, maybe he met her on the internet. Yes, I'm seeing that. And Stabler says, no, you're not. Computer crimes went over Kaylee's computer. Nothing suspicious, you pathetic fraud. And then Sebastian says, oh, well, wait, actually, I'm seeing her underflowing water, but she's not wet. Stabler punches the wall by Sebastian's face and says, what? You didn't see that coming? Oh. They're making like primo psychic burns. It's great.
He remembers to pocket a high five for Cragen later. He's like, I'm gonna get back to the precinct with this one. And then I punched the wall, not him. And I punched the wall and I was like, did you see that coming? They're Dom DeLuiseing just like so hard.
old relish is just fucking spitting out of his mouth. And he's like, I've had a hot dog. I don't even know when. Oh my God. So Sebastian says, no, but hold on. We went off on a tangent, but Stabler punched the wall by his head and was like, did you see that coming? And
okay, I was like, what are we talking about?
Yeah. And then Sebastian says, no, but I do see anger management classes in someone's future. Stabler says, hey, you think this is fucking funny? A girl's been raped and kidnapped and you're trying to make a buck off her mom's misery? Leave and never come back. I was trying to do Gollum's voice, but I can't.
Yeah.
Leave and never come back. Okay. Sebastian tells Stabler that he understands Stabler's skepticism, but he can help. But Stabler pushes him away physically and emotionally.
Poor guy.
Sebastian tells him to call his wife and kids because they're worried and leaves. God, this guy's a little fucking... Back in Kaylee's room, Mrs. Sellers tells Benson that Sebastian hasn't asked for any money. Benson knows that she's desperate, but she needs to understand that people are fucked up. Psychics will come out of the woodwork during these high-profile cases for exposure and new clients. Mrs. Sellers says that Sebastian had a vision, and Benson says, yeah, but so did the 600 psychics that called in on the Elizabeth Smart case. Mrs. Sellers says that Sebastian knew stuff he couldn't possibly know, but it was all the stuff that she had said in the press conference, like wanting to go to NYU. And he also said that Kaylee had a childhood scar. Benson says that almost everybody has a childhood scar, though. Mrs. Sellers asks where Sebastian is, and they're like, he was told to leave, and she gets fucking pissed. Benson says that they're going to find Kaylee using actual leads and facts, and has Chloe show Mrs. Sellers the pictures of Jake from Kaylee's phone. Mom didn't even know that they dated in high school. Chloe says that her sister and Jake broke up because Kaylee, quote, wouldn't put out. She found this out not because Kaylee told her. Chloe read it in her diary, which was torn up after she caught Chloe reading it. She's just like an annoying little sister that goes through your shit.
Yeah.
Chloe says that she knew Kaylee wasn't afraid of Jake, but in the diary it says that Kaylee wasn't ready for sex. And that's why they broke up. Benson asks Chloe if she thinks that it could have been Jake that made the calls. And then Mom says, oh my God, Sebastian asked me if the letter J meant anything to me. It must be Jake. In the precinct, the gang's going over the case updates. Toots talked with Jake's dad. Jake is away at college in Boston and was there when Kaylee went missing. Toots went through the mail from the garbage truck. He didn't find anything so far, but her bike was found under an overpass. It was 5 blocks from where the cell phone was found. So they're starting to narrow down the search area. Oh my God, fucking Sebastian shows up, the balls of this fucking guy, and Stabler confronts him. He tells Stabler that he feels like this is where he's supposed to be. And Stabler says, then you're the world's worst psychic. Cragen pops over. Sebastian asks if there's any evidence that he could do a reading on. Benson's like, no. And Stabler's like, yeah, actually, and tells Benson to dump him in a room. She's like, okay, and does. Craigie is like, what the fuck, Stabler? This isn't a babysitting service. But Stabler wants to put him in a room just to get him out of Mrs. Sellers' hair and theirs. Their 2 hairs combined. Sister Peg shows up with a sex worker. She saw the report on Kaylee when she was warning the sex workers about the case. Sebastian inserts himself into this conversation. The woman, the sex worker Bernadette, she says that one of her clients had her pretend to be Kaylee and acted out the kidnapping during a sexual encounter, and she thinks the guy was a little too into it, if you get her drift. And then Sebastian says, I think it's wonderful you 2 came forward, and then says to Sister Peg, and you're a madam? No, I'm a nun. His eyes widen, and he's like, oh. Benson fucking gets Sebastian put into a room. Toots comes over with the update on Jake. His roommate from college says that Jake cut classes on Friday and left to meet a girl to, quote, nail some skirt. And then he crashed at this friend's apartment.
Stabler's boom, 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 banging on the door of this apartment. It's the loft of Michael Winnick, where Jake was supposed to be staying. Jake answers the door. Benny and Stabler go in, and there's a girl there, but it's not Kaylee. She's spraying air freshener. And I'm like, honey, these are not the you smoked one joint police.
Oh, God, okay? I thought she was getting rid of sex smell.
Oh, maybe. I wouldn't even think of that. Be like, oh.
Yeah, right.
Also, they just pushed past Jake, no warrant. They ask the girl how long Jake had been there, and she tells them since Friday. Jake wants to know why they're looking for Kaylee. When Stabes tells him she was abducted and raped, Jake tells Stabler, oh, she was asking for it. And Stabler gets kind of mad and grabs Jake by the fucking face. Benson tells the girl to change out of Jake's after sex rom-com Oxford button down and get some clothes on. I know it's cute. Okay.
But this was a giant like
cut to the person writing us a review that I nitpick shit and fucking am petty as fuck. I am.
But this was classic like early odds, well, even now rom-com, like oversized giant work shirt, and they were practically the same size because they're kids. Like, no.
Yeah. It's one of the most unrealistic tropes. I would never be comfortable in a dude's fucking button-down, stiff fucking office guy shirt.
Right.
You know? Also, do you want me wearing that when you bring me my rom-com breakfast in bed? I'm gonna have syrup and orange juice all over that shit. I drink my OJ like season 1 Stabler to the fucking brim.
Man shirts, short skirts.
Totally crazy. Anyway, give me your free oversized t-shirt that you got at a gas station. I don't need the fucking button-down shit.
Remember that nasty 5K you did where they had all those colors blown at you with dust? Give me that. Give me your I'd rather wear your jerk-off shirt, okay?
Okay, so they're talking to this girl. She's wearing the button-down. Fucking Benny's like, go change your fucking shirt. So now they just cut to Jake. Jake says that Kaylee didn't have sex with him when they dated. I never got the prize. Ew, Jake.
I was with her for a year.
I never got the prize. Oh, my God. Your mom pushes back your foreskin still to help you wash your bod. It's fucking gross. That's the only insult I could come up with. I was like, you don't clean your own smegma.
Foreskin. Smegma.
Gross. I hate myself. Okay. Benny shows him a pic from Kaylee's cell phone she had printed out at a Walgreens of him, Joe Biden, smelling her and Kaylee leaning away, making a totally appropriate ew, Jake face. He tells them that when he saw
Joe Biden smelling.
He tells them that when he saw her at the library that day, he snuck up behind her and saw the site she was on, biddingroom.com. It wasn't on her computer because Jake said her nosy little sister just getting into shit. Kaylee was on the website selling her virginity.
I was a little bit like, that's fucking clever.
It's clever, but dudes are the worst. That makes that like a great idea for a young girl.
For sure.
Money.
If it was a world where we had control over our fucking body, I can't.
If she had actual autonomy, I'd be like, wow, that's great. But she knows her worth, which is I mean it in the grossest sense. Back at the precinct, they're examining Kaylee's ad on biddingroom.com.
She's 18, by the way. We're not talking about like...
She's 18. Yeah. She's 18. Her ad has a photo of her, and it's not even a thirst trap photo. It's from the shoulders up, and I can only describe it as church yacht mom. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Blowout into a bob.
Yep.
She speaks in fundy baby voice. But so the ad says, I'm an 18-year-old girl struggling to make tuition. The high bidder will win my virginity. Rare opportunity, serious bidders only. And Cragen goes, I don't care if she calls it an auction or a yard sale. It's prostitution. Sure. This is where I've got Kaylee's back and I'm going, relax on that. Cragen.
What, you think she should be banging a
pimply faced fuck for free
behind a fucking Taco Bell? Like, come on. In the back of a truck at an Amtrak station, Gabe?
And you do whatever you want with your virginity. They're all sitting there going, oh no, who's going to tell Kaylee's mom about the auction? Ooh, because her mom's like, she doesn't even drink. She didn't have a boyfriend. There are 500 bidders listed and the price is up to $8,000. Many of the bids are from one person.
Is this like...
What?
She just trying to pay off one semester of college or what?
Yeah. I mean, where is she going to college?
She's trying to go to NYU.
Grants? Man, she's like, God, I thought it'd be worth a hell of a lot more than this.
Yeah.
Where's the Saudi prince that everybody's talking about?
Check your email. Get an email account and then check it.
Okay, so the price is up to $8,000. Many of the bids are from one person listed as connoisseur. Mm-hmm. He's purchased things before, so the people that have sent him those things should know his name and address. Mm-hmm. Lunch and Toots go to talk to this guy at his apartment, and his real name is Harlan Beaumont. Toots is checking out dude's lava lamp collection, asking about his screen name. Well, it's a play on a connoisseur. And this is me, again, nitpicking. A play on words implies it has more than one meaning, so I'm reading into this a little too much. He spelled it con. Is he a con man? Sewer? Did he throw her down a manhole?
I know.
Did he have a lair under the city? Is he a Ninja Turtle?
Cowabunga, dude.
Cowabunga, dude?
Pizza, anyone?
April? Reporter? Much? Either way, Toots is like, Bebop and Rocksteady? So either way, no matter what, this guy, I thought they were really onto something. Con-e sewer?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever it is, Toots is like, you're a dork and that's dumb and this is dumb and I hate your apartment.
What did he say? I get it, nerd boy. Or something.
Yeah. It's like, why'd you even ask? So there's all kinds of shit in this apartment too. He's got a David Hasselhoff shrine, a bunch of globes, a collection of clocks. That was actually really cool. His clocks were cool.
Mm-hmm.
But then Munch points out a collectible. I can't remember what they're called, but one of those racist old statues.
Yeah, the like jockey.
Yeah, is that what it is? Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. Apparently, he was going to sell off his Hummels to pay for the bid on Kaylee's virginity, which I then looked up. They're little ceramic figurines, like precious moments, but older, and they look more like Cupies, and they're actually worth a lot.
Yeah.
They can be. Detectives get a call. Kaylee was found in Hell's Kitchen.
Benny and Stabes roll up on the scene, and a cop briefs them on what's going on. The superintendent went to check on a burst water heater and found Kaylee, and then he covered her with a greasy blanket. The only way to get to where Kaylee was found is through an exterior basement door. She was strangled with a ligature, and she hasn't been dead that long. The rigor hasn't set in. You hear a toilet flush, and Stabler noticed that there's a water pipe above Kaylee's body, and he was like, no. Sebastian was right. She was found under flowing water, but she wouldn't be wet. Diamond nips. Stabler rushes into the precinct looking for Sebastian and yells, Kivlahan! Like we were supposed to know who that was.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, detective? This is the dude that had put Sebastian in a room like 8 hours ago. Stabler pops into the room behind the glass, and Cragen's there with Wong during his one-man mime class, and they aren't saying a word. But you can tell by the look on their mime-painted faces, they're confused why Stabler's busting in. Okay. So you can see on the other side, Munch is interviewing Harlan in the room Sebastian was supposed to be in. And Stabler says, I let that girl die. And Wong says, Elliot. And Stabler keeps going, she was still alive. We had him before he killed her. Stabler's convinced that Sebastian is the killer. Cragen left a business card from Sebastian's first visit on Stabler's desk. So Stabler runs over to his desk, and Stabler's looking for the card, and Kivlahan or whatever comes over. Hey, for what it's worth, I totally thought Sebastian was legit. He knew my mom's name and that she died and didn't like my wife. And Stabler's not having any of Kivlahan's shit today. He's like, if you think, he straight up yells at this guy.
Yeah.
If you fucking fell for that guy's shit, you're in the wrong line of work. And he's like, sorry, I'm sorry, I'm Kivlahan. I'm just the same old Kivlahan I was yesterday.
And we're like, who?
Yeah.
And I looked him up, and it was his only credit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I wonder if...
That's Jeremy. Jeremy Wolf did a cameo.
I thought he gave up acting because Stabler really gave it to him.
Yeah. That's method acting.
He's like, I can't handle
right
this.
there. Quitting acting because yeah.
He's like, I'm okay with it, but my character is really sensitive.
Yeah, so I need to quit.
My character is a cancer.
Right. All of a sudden, you hear Sebastian say, try looking under your mouse pad. And I was like, I haven't heard the word mouse pad in like years. Have you?
No, I haven't. But I also just thought Gabe popped over his shoulder and goes, check your mouth.
Oh, God. I was just thinking about how I got booed so hard when I said that.
Oh, God. No, you didn't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just a few people were like, boo. Because I heard my friend Claire in the background go, Gabe. And she's like, boo. And I was like, all right, I'm sorry.
If you got booed, I don't remember it because I had never laughed harder.
I didn't even care. It was
check your mouth.
What was it? I was talking about pubes or something.
It was at the live show.
Yeah.
I don't know. We were something about a magician though.
Okay. You hear Sebastian say, try looking under your mouse pad. He's standing up on the balcony with a cup of coffee, smiling like the coffee in the blue Greek cup things or whatever. So Sebastian had stayed all night. He knew Stabler would come back for him, so he never left. Stabler reviews all the information he was told by Sebastian's visions. The computer, the flowing water. He wants to know how Sebastian knew that shit. And Sebastian's like, I have a gift. And Stabler grabs him and goes him down the stairs, and he does a classic Martin Short little quip afterwards. He's like, sometimes it's a curse.
Yeah.
Later, in a fucking interrogation room, the tape from Mrs. Sellers' answering machine is being played for Sebastian. Stabler tells Sebastian that the voice in the recording is him. Sebastian says it doesn't even sound like him. The crime lab is running the recording through a filter audio scrubber thing to get a voice ID, and they will. And Sebastian's like, that's fucking fine. Tell him to put a rush on it, dude. I want to get this figured out. He's even fine with taking a lie detector test. He asked Stabler if the test shows he's not lying about being psychic, would he believe him? Stabler asked Sebastian to read him. And Sebastian's like, negativity blocks the channel. Stabler's like, hey, bro, I'm completely open. Sebastian, I'm sure you are, buddy.
Sebastian puts on his sunglasses and he's like, because reading is what?
Fundamental.
And then he just drags that bitch.
Yeah. He's like, your wife is leaving you just like your fucking...
just like your hairline.
Yeah. Damn it. Sebastian wants to know if he's having trouble with his wife. And then he says that he sees the number 3 pregnancies. On the other side of the glass, Huang, Cragen, and Benson watch. Cragen says 3 pregnancies. He's got 4 kids, but Benson's like, yeah, but one of them are twins. 1 pregnancy is twins.
So 3.
Not one of them are twins. Well, yeah.
2 of them are 1.
Yeah. Benson's like, how the hell is he doing that? Huang points out that Sebastian's using a technique that psychics have been using for centuries. It's called cold reading techniques. He tells them that it's basically intuition and common sense.
Which makes Huang really knowledgeable, but also a total bummer at parties.
Right. Because, like, everybody believes, like, none of this is true, but it's so fun.
It is fun.
You know?
I mean, it's fun just for somebody to be that skilled.
Yeah. Huang and Cragen break down the rest of the information that Sebastian gave and how it's all just reading the body and facial movements. As far as Sebastian asking Mrs. Sellers if Kaylee was seeing someone with the letter J, the most common names start with J and M, John and Mary. They always start with their best odds. Huang tells Benson that if she wants to expose Sebastian, don't contribute to the conversation at all, or even better, give him like false feedback. Benson's in the room alone with Sebastian. She has on a huge fake wedding ring. She plays into the false feedback tip from Huang. Sebastian says that he can sense that a man has caused her great harm and that he wasn't really there for her. And Benson says, well, he's really busy at work. Sebastian says, I'm sorry, but I can see he's been with other women. And Benson says, oh my God, how can you tell that? It's your father, isn't it? And she's like, no, it's not my father. And Sebastian says, well, then there's a problem with your husband. Bitch, all I see are single-ass tomatoes. Just like you single bitch. You don't have a husband.
You don't have a husband. What Housewives thing was that from? I think it was from Atlanta. I don't know. It's going to bother me now.
On the other side of the glass, Cragen's like, well, that experiment failed miserably, but like, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
If he's super good at reading people, wouldn't he tell by her reactions to his questions? But it was fun, though. It was fun.
Yeah.
Dudes comes in and tells Stabes and Cragen that Sebastian's prints are not in the system. Benson goes to the other side of the glass with the gang, and she wonders if Sebastian is actually psychic, and Huang tells him he's been trained in facial coding systems. Facts? Is that what they called it? Facial...
Yeah.
Something, I can't remember.
Oh, it was Phaedra Parks yelling at Kenya Moore. She goes, you can't be a housewife because you don't have a husband. The way that Phaedra can drag another fucking... Oh, she was just on this last season of Traitors, too.
Did she have the short hair?
The, like,
Phaedra?
little... No. Portia had a little cropped cut for a while, which was really cute. Nene Leakes had like blonde, really short hair. She had a lot of different styles, but she usually did blonde. But no, Phaedra was like the Southern Belle who was a lawyer and like a funeral director.
Awesome. Okay. Huang tells him that he's been trained in a facial coding system that covers facial movements that are being taught to the FBI and CIA. Every little fucking movement of your muscles. It's like human lie detector shit. Meet the Fockers type stuff.
Yeah.
Huang says that... Martha Fokker? Gaylord? Huang says that Sebastian probably learned all this shit from buying the CD-ROM on the internet.
So... Remember the guy with the collection of shit that was trying to buy Kaylee's virginity?
Mm-hmm.
It cuts to him storming out of the precinct, demanding that he get an apology. And then sassy old Munch is right behind him. And he's like, you'll be receiving one in the mail in 6 to 8 weeks. Oh, waka, waka, waka. A woman holding a baby.
You know what? If we're doing Muppet Babies, he's Gonzo.
Oh, yeah. What did we have him as before? I think he was always Gonzo, right?
Yeah. Muppet Babies. That's not how that goes, is it?
Making him hey, yeah. Somebody who knows, let us know if we said that Munch Gonzo. Because I would put money on the fact that we said he was Gonzo.
Kragan is the lady with the striped socks. We talked about that, right?
Nanny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this woman holding a baby shows up. She tells... I feel like I started that like a bad joke. So a woman, a rabbi, and a polar bear show up.
Oh, a woman holding a baby walks into a precinct. Yeah.
Oh. A woman holding the baby shows up. She tells Munch that her husband has been there since last night. Her husband, Sebastian Ballantyne with a B. Oh. Her name is Carlene, and she later calls the baby Henry J. Like, we were like, what's that? And we found out why. But she's been in everything, this woman. Lost, Dexter, Ray Donovan, a long-ass arc on Nash Bridges, a smaller one on ER. She was in Bound with Gina Gershon and Jennifer Tilly as Sue the bartender. Cut to Sebastian sitting in the interrogation room. Kragan comes in and releases him, telling him that his wife and baby are waiting. She vouched for his whereabouts during Kaylee's abduction, so he's off the hook for the murder. And Sebastian's mood suddenly shifts and goes, no, they aren't. Sebastian's wife, Carlene, walks in and hugs him. It's a very weird interaction because she's like, honey, you've been gone. We've missed you.
She was like, Pookie. Yeah.
Oh, Pookie, the baby's missed you. He knows when daddy's not around. He doesn't hug her back and is clearly annoyed that she's there. He's like, I'm working. God. He tells Kragan he's not ready to leave because he promised Mrs. Sellers they would find the killer, and he thinks they'll strike again. Toots comes in. There's a situation at St. Anne's. So over at St. Anne's homeless shelter, Benny and Stabes are getting filled in by a uniformed officer that I'd like to get filled in by. Ew, I wrote bad. That was a bad joke.
Yes. You say you wrote that?
He was a good looking fella. Yeah. All right. I'm sorry. The advancement of people treating each other with any kind of dignity. Sorry. Sister Peg hadn't been seen since the night before. When Sister Maria checked Peg's room, she found Kaylee's work uniform from the law firm laid out on her bed. Stabler calls it a message to them. Screw you, coppers. Benny thinks whoever took Kaylee dumped the clothes there and took Sister Peg. Stabes is initially annoyed that he, quote, wasted time with that idiot Sebastian, but then Benson light bulb moments. And, she just fucking puts it all together. Elliot. Sebastian met Sister Peg at the precinct the night before. She mentioned St. Anne's to him. Stabes is confused about why he'd even go after Sister Peg. Well, Benny explains in great detail, if the virginity angle is the reasoning, Kaylee was a virgin. Sebastian likely assumed Sister Peg was a virgin too, because of the nun thing. In the hallway outside Sebastian's apartment, the director yells, action, and Stabes karate tornado kicks the door down.
Super hard. Stabler Sebashes the door.
Yeah.
No.
Toots is super impressed.
He went like, damn. He like went back like that.
I took a video, so we'll post it. They head in. A lady pops her head out like, what's happening? There's a huge crash outside. She pops her head out, and Toots is like, get back in your fucking apartment, lady. And she just, woo, woo, woo. So they head in. Nobody's home. Sister Peg isn't there either. Stabler thinks Sebastian's probably holding her somewhere else. And Toots is like, dude, we don't have a fucking warrant, and you just shablam the door down. You just Sebash the door down. Yeah. That was like such a niche joke, and I'm still mad that I didn't think of it.
Sebastian the door in?
Yeah.
I just thought of it right now, so it makes sense.
I know, but it was really good, and I thought really hard about the different things I would say about the door getting bashed in.
Thanks for saying it was really good.
It was.
I'm going to do a couple clicks of joy. He fucking flips that phone open to call Benny, cut to the other end of his phone call.
Benny's in Novak's office, and Novak's like, what the fuck is Stabler doing? I can't get him a warrant. They need to get the fuck out of there. Benson hangs up and begs for the warrant. For Sister Peg. She's done a lot for you. A lot of your cases. She's helped you.
What?
Novak tells her about this thing that they forget about a lot. It's called the Constitution. You ever heard of it?
Yeah. They're like, come on. She's like, oh, who do you think I am?
And Novak goes on to say that Sebastian was in the precinct the whole fucking time, dude. And Benson's like, that means he's working with a partner. They're going to kill Sister Peg. Benny and Novak are going back and forth. Novak is being logical within the parameters of her job. Benson's like, but she's our friend and it's different. And they're like yelling at each other and whatever. Benny's phone rings. Patrol picked up the Ballantines at an all-night car wash, hosing out the back of their van. What? Benson leaves Novak's office, but before she does, she turns and says, is it okay with you if we bring them in for questioning? And flips her hair.
Fuck you, Benson. Like, for real.
Flips her hair like she fucking owned her. And Novak's left there like, well, yeah, because that's following the law that I was talking about. That other thing was...
Like,
She just sighs and climbs into a hot tub full of Jack Daniels. She's like, I just can't with these fucking people.
She's like, cool, everything's moving the way it's supposed to, you know, questioning, warrants, perfect, bye.
Yeah, you can pick them up because that's the order of operations when it comes to your job. Anyway, well, you're gone, and you wouldn't have heard me anyway.
All right, we'll see you. Don't forget your Oh, she's already gone. Sebastian is being brought in for questioning at the precinct. Stabler does a sweet spin move and pushes Sebastian into a chair.
I saw that too.
Yeah. And he's like, time to cut the ESP crap. Where's Sister Peg? Sebastian says, well, do you want me to use my gift or not? I typed that out. Not. Stabler tells him it was so dumb to go after somebody that Stabler knows personally. Sebastian quickly says, well, now, how could I have gone after her? I was here the whole time. Stabler tells him that they know who his partner is. Sebastian says that he's a one-man show, and he's like all smug about it. He fucking did it. Of course. I mean, you see Martin Short and you're like, oh, he's
obviously, yeah.
You know, he's famous, so he's the guy. But then you're like, but it's Martin Short.
No.
He's got to be a victim in some way. I don't know. In another room, Sebastian's wife, Carlene, is being questioned by Benson. Benson tells her that cleaning the van was tampering with evidence. Carlene doesn't know how the van has anything to do with tampering with any evidence or anything. The baby threw up and Sebastian can't stand the smell. That's why they were at the car wash in the middle of the night. Why was your baby in the back of the van barfing?
Well,
okay.
I mean, my kids have full-on projectile barfed all over my car, so... Very common, very relatable.
I don't know, but this was like an under 1-year-old. How can it spin its head around and barf in the back of a van? I don't know.
Well, they're lying, Gabe. They're lying about it.
They're lying, for sure. And this is a TV
lying.
show.
Yeah.
It's a TV show. Everybody's lying. And I'm taking it personally.
And in the defense of that statement, babies are in rear-facing car seats for a long time. So if the baby is rear-facing and they full-on projectile rainbow hard barf, then yeah. I'm glad we got that figured out. They're lying.
Yeah. Rainbow hard barf.
That was
Benson.
Band name called it.
God. Benson asks Carlene if she knows about a friend of her husband's they're looking for. She says that if she's not with her and the baby, then Sebastian's at work. She's like clearly delusional, I feel like. She's giving off that vibe the whole time. As soon as she walked in and was like, Pookie, I'm like, okay.
I think she's playing dumb pretty well.
Yeah.
But...
She says Sebastian doesn't have a business partner. Carlene actually makes the appointments and does the books for his business. Toots goes behind the glass to tell Cragen, well, actually to mime to Cragen, that they found a witness that says that they saw the Ballantines at the car wash for about 30 minutes, which means they had to go straight there after they left the precinct. That could mean he hasn't seen Sister Peg yet, and the partner could be waiting on him to get there. Novak comes in. She stopped by the judge's favorite bar to get him to sign a search warrant. How fucking annoying. I mean, I get it, but like, I would be so annoyed. She assured him it contained sufficient cause, and he signed it without reading it.
And she says it like, what luck? I know an alcoholic judge.
Right.
Nailed it with this time. See, I can do morally ambiguous shit.
Yeah. The search warrant will get them into the van and the house. And she tosses Toots the warrant, says, I fixed this. Now you fix the door. And he makes it look like, fucking shut up. Not in front of fucking Daddy Cragen. And Cragen says, what door? They're so funny this episode.
Oh, God.
So CSU and SVU are searching Sebastian's home. Cyper says there are no signs of violence. The house is fucking immaculate. Appointments are found on the computer. He seems to mostly work with women, and the names are all links that open to more information like former addresses, mortgages, etc. He finds all this in the public record. Apparently, it's a more, quote, sophisticated search engine than Google. His last search was Benson and then Stabler before that. The apartment Sebastian lives in isn't registered to him. It's registered to Henry Palavar. That might be his partner, but the address listed for him in Sebastian's computer is Montreal. What the fuck is going on?
Back at the precinct, Cragen, Benny, Stabler walk and talk as they go over the new case info. Palavar was in prison in Montreal from 92 to 97 on sexual assault charges and abduction of a minor. The girl was 14 and memorized his license plate, so he got caught.
Good for her.
It turns out Sebastian Ballantyne is Henry Palavar. Cragen has his mugshot up on the board. Sebastian's prints were run, but the system doesn't include data from Canada. The Palavars had only been in the U.S. for 6 months, and Carlene took on an assumed identity and changed her name, so she must know fucking something.
Oh my God.
So we go back to Carlene's interview room. Now that they have his real ID, they start calling him Henry, okay? Benson points out that Carlene and Henry's 10-year anniversary is coming up, but her husband had only been out of jail for 8 years, which means they were married when he was in jail. Jailhouse wedding. Mm-hmm. So she had to know what he was fucking in for.
Yeah.
She tells Benson that Henry's the sweetest and most charming man she's ever met. And Benny is wildly thrown by this woman. Mm-hmm. Cute. He was doing time for sexual assault. But Charlene can't respond to that. She tells Benny they met via a pen pal program. She was sympathetic to him being locked up, and she thought she could change him. Oof. Benson tells Carlene that she failed. She didn't make him good. Henry made her bad because she's covering up his crimes. Carlene's fucking busted, and Benny goes down all the reasons why. A search for Kaylee was found on her computer. She had printed directions to St. Anne's from the night before, and traces of blood were found in the van. Then Carlene's just like, I need to talk to Henry.
Yeah.
Can I talk to my husband?
No.
I need to talk to Henry. You can't be a housewife. You don't have a husband. Hey, music. How you doing? Fucking swell. Yeah. Carlene went along with it because she thought that if she could prove to him how much she loved him, he would stop. She tells Benson that there were about 12 girls that they did this to, usually hitchhikers up in Canada who thought nothing of getting into a van with a nice married couple. Henry was at the precinct when Kaylee was killed, which means Carlene fucking did it. She tells Benson she had to. She didn't want him to go back to jail when it was her fault. Henry and Stabler are watching from behind the glass. Stabler looks at him. Yeah, Henry, why was it her fault? Henry says that he wouldn't have had to rape virgins if Carlene had been one.
Oh my God.
He tells Stabler that Carlene lied to him about being a virgin when they met. Cut back to the gals. Carlene tells Benson that they weren't allowed conjugal visits and their honeymoon was 2 years after the wedding. She was a virgin for those 2 years, but she wasn't before they met. Back to the dudes. Henry tells Stabler he could tell that Carlene wasn't a virgin when they had sex for the first time. He read her face. She was, quote, used goods. Stabler asks him what the virgin compulsion is, and Henry tells him he likes the expression on their faces. Stabler correctly corrects him. These girls weren't having sex. They were being raped. Henry keeps going on about their expressions. Their faces were a palette of shock, confusion, panic, fear, pain. Stabes still doesn't get why this guy came to the fucking precinct, though, because he could have gotten away with it. Henry says he wanted to see what he set in motion.
Of course.
Your expressions were priceless. This place is like a beehive I poked with a stick. And also, I like to help. Back to the women, Benson starts badgering Carlene about where Sister Peg is, telling her she knows Henry made her do all this shit. And Carlene just says, I didn't hurt her. Wee-oo, wee-oo. Wee-oo, wee-oo.
Benson and Stabler roll up to a locked shipping container. They cut the lock. Sister Peg is tied to a bed with her mouth taped shut and a head wound. She's unconscious. They wake her up and she tells them that they need to check on a baby. Oh my God. Of course, Sister Peg. She's like, don't worry about me. There's a baby. Mm-hmm. She says that a woman left a naked baby in a van. So Sister Peg went in to get him and the woman hit her with a tire iron. Benny and Stabes tell her that it was a setup, that the baby was the woman's and it's fine and it was never in any danger. Peg says that the baby is in danger. On the drive to the shipping container, Carlene was yelling at the baby and saying something about having picked a bad baby and it was the baby's fault that the dad still needed to cheat. Oh my God. Cut to the precinct. Stabler walks into Carlene's room and asks her about the baby. He found records of a pregnant woman having been 8 months pregnant with a fetus cut out of her. This happened 6 months ago, which is how old Henry Jr. is. She's like, no, Henry Jr. is ours. And then I thought, oh my God, she sounds so much like Jennifer Tilly, doesn't she? She kind of had this like Jennifer Tilly voice. A little bit.
I mean, maybe a touch. Jennifer Tilly has such a...
Just like the kind of baby, like, no.
Yeah. She has such like a raspy baby voice, though.
Yeah.
God, I love Jennifer Tilly.
Me too. I just...
So great.
Yeah. I want to watch Bound again. Stabler says that there are no birth records for Henry and no one remembers seeing her pregnant. Carlene says that she couldn't stand seeing Henry with the other girls. She did everything he asked and it was never enough. So she thought if they could be a real, quote, nuclear family, it would fix things. My God, this fucking lady. She tells Stabler that she and Henry have never had sex since the night of their honeymoon. For 8 years? When he could tell she wasn't a virgin, he couldn't, quote, perform. They've actually never had sex. Ugh. Carlene is arrested. As Stabler is walking her to a cell, she asks if Henry Jr. will be allowed to see her in jail. Stabler tells her, no. You dumb bitch. This baby is going to be sent to live with his real father.
It's not your baby.
As she's walking by Henry's cell, he reaches out and grabs her on the neck and he's angry at her, calling her a stupid dizzy cow. She tells him that she's sorry and that she loves him. Stabler breaks her free and Sebastian says that's what I get for associating with that filthy slut. Take the whore away. And Carlene is begging Sebastian. She's saying he told her that if she did those things that he would never leave her. And he's smiling and says, I lied. Carlene is taken away. Stabler goes up to Sebastian and Sebastian's like, well, this was fun. Then says, best sex I ever had in that same voice he used to call the mom in the beginning. Stabler tells Henry that he's going to do his best to keep him in the U.S. instead of getting him extradited. Henry sarcastically says, I believe you really mean that. I kind of grew on you, didn't I? Fucking Toyota.
Ugh, Toyota. In 2003, French carpenter and convicted pedophile Michel Fourniret abducted a 13-year-old girl in Belgium. As he headed to his home with her tied up in the back of his van, telling her what his plans were with her, she chewed through the ropes and jumped out at a stoplight. Before she ran, she memorized his license plate to give to the police. Just like in the episode.
Sick.
I know.
What a fucking badass.
13-year-old.
However you survived, you're badass. I'm just saying, like...
Yeah. As Fournier sat in jail for this crime, police looked to question his wife, Monique Olivier. An important thing to note is that there had recently been a murderous pedophile in the area on trial, Marc Dutroux. Olivier and everyone else in France and Belgium knew about this case, including that his wife had also been handed a sentence for complacency and being involved in some way. She got 30 years for her involvement in covering up Dutroux's crime.
Wow.
This is when Olivier told police, because she was like, uh-oh, I could get in big trouble for my part. Her part? Listen, this is when Olivier told police that her husband had not only kidnapped this young girl, but he was also responsible for 9 murders in France and Belgium. The victims were young females between the ages of 12 and 22. She claimed that she did have awareness of his crimes, but didn't participate. Fournier would eventually confess to the majority of these murders, but experts believe that there were many more possibly beyond France and Belgium. Let's go back a little bit though, okay? Michael Fournier was born in 1942 near the Belgium border in, I'm going to say this wrong, I don't know, I'm American, French, Sedan. It's spelled like sedan, like a 4-door Ford Taurus sedan. It's a Saturn SL2 sedan. It's probably like Sedan, France or whatever, but...
hold on. French. It's probably... Sedan. Yeah, you're right. Sedan.
Sedan. Okay. Sedan. Yeah. Sedan, France. Sedan, France.
France. Yeah. Sedan, French.
So this is where this guy was born. Fourniret was a bright kid. He was quiet. He liked listening to classical music and playing chess. The first time Fourniret was arrested, it was 1966 for child molestation. He was 25. It cost him his first marriage, but 0 prison time. He received an 8-month suspended sentence. He was married again, had 3. There was no sex offender registry, P.S., through all of this. He was married again, had 3 kids, and was again arrested for the sexual assault of minors in 1984. While he awaited trial, Fourniret placed an ad for a pen pal in a Catholic magazine. He received a response from nurse and mother of 3, Monique Olivier. She had been through a series of abusive relationships, which allegedly included her husband at the time, that she started writing to the student prison. She wasn't happy in her marriage, and throughout the correspondence between them, she learned of Fournieret's crimes and his fantasies. He wanted her to assist him in abducting and sexually assaulting young virgins. And she said she would agree to it if he agreed to kill her husband. This is a spoiler alert. He never kills her husband. Okay? That doesn't happen. Although he had been sentenced to 7 years, Fourniret was released after 2 for good behavior in 1987. And Olivier was at the gate waiting for him. The 2 were married. They had a son. They bought a chateau in a remote area between France and Belgium called the French Ardennes. It's a super heavily forested area. If you look it up, it's a gorgeous rural area, but they had this property, their chateau. It's believed, too, that he got the money for the purchase of this property by tracking down his old cellmate's wife. That dude had been serving time for bank robbery and told Fourniret about his stash, which was allegedly around 30 grand, which would be almost 80 today. When Fourniret found the wife, who he hunted down after he got out, he got the information he needed about where the money was and murdered her. On December 11th, 1987, Fourniret and Olivier pulled up to 17-year-old Isabelle Laville on her way home from school. They were in their van. They told her they were lost and convinced her to get into the van to give them directions. She was then raped and killed by Fourniret before he threw her down a well on their property. In July of 1988, 20-year-old Fabienne Leroy was at the grocery store when she disappeared. Her body was found the next day with a gunshot wound to the chest. Now that they had a child, he was used to lure victims as well. The couple would tell potential victims that their baby was sick and needed directions to a hospital. Sometimes only Olivier would pick up a girl, and Fourniret would be up the road acting like a stranded motorist needing a ride to get gas. And then sometimes when Fourniret knew he was going to go out and abduct a girl, he would dig a hole in advance on their property. Once they had a girl, Fourniret would use a variety of methods to murder them: strangulation, shooting, air injection.
Air injection? Holy shit.
Yeah, which simulated a heart attack.
Yeah. Ugh.
Fourniret would also sexually assault the victims' bodies post-mortem as well. Olivier would watch as he brutally raped and murdered these young women and teens. They would then reenact them in their own sexual encounters. In 1990, the body of 20-year-old Joanna Parrish was found floating in the Yvonne River just hours after being discarded. She had placed an ad as an English tutor and had an appointment with a man on the evening of May 16th. She split off from her friend who was visiting to go to that appointment, and then she was just gone. The autopsy showed she had been drugged, bound, beaten, raped, and strangled to death. The investigation was so terribly managed. The crime scene was contaminated. There was hidden, botched, and discarded evidence. When a second autopsy was done, they found multiple bite marks on Joanna's body.
Jesus.
That were never recorded. Dental records would have probably fucking helped. That was completely ignored. They collected DNA evidence, took 2 years to process it, got a genetic print, and did nothing with it.
What the fuck?
It was suspected that high-ranking officials wanted to keep quiet that the area had such a high murder rate. So there was virtually no chance he was getting caught over these years, not in the small province he lived in at least.
Yeah.
Nobody's talking to each other. They want to keep it quiet. It's a beautiful, lovely, quiet area. There's a huge surge of murders, and they're not talking about it.
Yeah.
Very hot fuzz, you know?
Yes.
But not funny.
I know, but I mean, like, I forgot about
Yeah.
that movie. Not funny.
The great are good.
The great are good.
Once he was finally caught and confessed to the murders he did, there were still 13 unsolved in the area that he refused to claim, including Joanna Parrish. There was also a fucking long-running underground child sex ring that was uncovered in the area, but that's an entirely other, completely fucked, destroys all hope for humanity story. There was a lot of shit going on in this area. He was just one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 2003. Fourniret is in custody. The cops take him out to the property where there were several bodies buried. His youngest victim was 12-year-old Elizabeth Brichet. She had been considered a missing person for 14 years when a forensics team unearthed her body, along with 22-year-old Jean-Marie Desmarais, who had been missing since March 18th, 1989. As Fourniret watched, he showed zero emotion. So he's there on site with these forensics teams not reacting at all. I don't love that they let him watch them dig them up, but he was going to be tried for 10 murders, even though the body of the couple's au pair was never found. That was one that Olivier was like, he fucking killed our au pair, and he wouldn't admit to it. They couldn't find her, so they were just, that was kind of up in the air. But they were still like, there's pretty sufficient evidence that you probably killed this woman who disappeared that was last known to be working for you and living at your house, but okay. Police were certain he was responsible for many more murders across the EU, in addition to the ones in Belgium and France. This was based on unsolved missing persons cases that fit his MO, along with the fact that he had visited these countries during these times. Countries included Denmark, Germany, and Austria. Monica Olivier was on the hook as well. In 2005, she was extradited to France, where she was charged with 3 counts of murder. She admitted to having lured 3 of the victims to their house, knowing that they would be tortured and killed.
Jesus.
The trial began in March of 2008. He had been denied a request to ban the media, as well as the request to have all female jurors prove their virginity before marriage. Like,
What?
you had to be able to prove that you were a virgin before you were married, if you were a married person, to be on the jury.
That couldn't be honored, right? Like, fuck you.
No, they were like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. He was like, could I request this? And they're like, no, you can't.
You can't request anything.
No. So he was a total dick during the trial, obviously. He refused to answer direct questions. He was emotionless, remorseless. The only time he showed any emotion was when he got pissed that testing showed his wife had a higher IQ than him.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Olivier claimed that she regretted everything and was emotional, but the prosecutor dragged her because it was too fucking late for that. What she had done was unforgivable. After 2 months, Olivier was found guilty on 5 counts of accomplice to murder and sentenced to life with a minimum of 28 years. Fourniret was found guilty on 7 counts of murder and was sentenced to life. In 2018, he confessed to 3 more murders, one being the partner of his former bank robber cellmate, and the other 2, Marie-Angélile Domassé, I'm sorry that I'm butchering these French names, and Joanna Parrish. They just tacked on shit for those confessions. And then in March of 2020, he made another confession, and it was to the murder of his youngest victim. In 2003, he had killed a 9-year-old little girl whose case was unsolved until he confessed in 2020. Michel Fourniret died on May 10th, 2021. He was 79 years old.
Bye. Wow, that's fucked up. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Next week, we are on season 6, episode 19, Intoxicated. A mom finds her underage daughter in bed with her 21-year-old boyfriend, and the mom wants him to be charged with statutory rape. Later, mom is found dead, and the daughter and boyfriend are prime suspects.
Yeah.
All right, rate and review us. Give us 5 stars. Email us at svupod@gmail.com. If you want to send us anything, mail to P.O. Box 176, Deforest, Wisconsin, 53532.
Mail us mail.
Mail us mail. All of our social media is at SVUpod. If you want to get merch, go to svupod.com and check out our store. Also, we are on tpublic.com. Our Facebook groups are SVUpod Elite Squad. We have a Facebook group chat called Walk and Talk. There's an offshoot Facebook groups called Single Tomato. It's a book club. Hashtag a little bit loud for finding indie pods. If you are an indie pod, hashtag that in your shit so we can all find you. Join our Patreon at www.patreon.com/svupod. And if you want to text us or send us voicemails, our number is 1-920-345-7005. Again, 1-920-345-7005. All right. Love you. Bye.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
I literally wrote huge Gollum's voice. Don't forget to do Gollum's voice that you can't do. Leave.
They're trying to steal Wisconsin jobs. What are you fucking talking?
Okay, hold on.
Is this a king-size pillowcase? Because I just cut holes in the two corners.
Is this your dad's?
I forgot to cut a head hole, and I'm just there with my arms taken out.
You're in a fucking body pillow tube thing. Wacky inflatable arm.
My inflatable arm guy. What is
this, an Irish wolfhound? It's huge. What?
Jesus. What is the internal body temperature of a tauntaun?
I don't. 195.
Lukewarm.
Oh, that's good.
Thank you.
Where'd you hear that from?
I don't know. I read it somewhere and never retained stuff, but I was like, ugh, Gabe's gonna love this. And to think that it worked itself so organically into a normal conversation. That's so great. Rain villain, machine body, turtle power. Krang. Duh.
Krang. Yeah. And to our Elite Squad patrons, Marisa M, Elke H, Tricia S, Emily T, Katarina G, Mary D, Joshua H, Lem, Eliza W, Nikki B, Kaylan B, Melanie G, Andrew, Miranda B, Lauren T,
Katie A, Kate H, Vanessa, Lex, Shelby K, Bonita R, Maren, Courtney W, Ursula, a Kate P, a Jessica S, a Jana M, Tammy J, Bear,
Sam D, Nisha G, Mac Attack, Meg M, Casey, Abby W, Alexis J, Caitlin S, Christina D, Camille Z, Maggie D, Sin, Jessica P, Zan and J,
Madison H, Emily, over the river and through the woods.
To grab his house we go.
Victoria, Scout G, Melissa M, Desiree R, Lexi Y, Drew B, Monica K, Katie S, Brenna T, Andrea M, Tash,
Jenna, Al H, Andrea H, Nikki R. Well, I'll be dipped. Is that my Aunt Sarah? Hi.
Gabe's Aunt Sarah.
Don't forget to take some leftovers on your way home. Katie H, Vern, Catherine B, Ariana,
Madeline K, Mallory J, Kristen F, Samara B, Dim Sim, Alice D, Amanda P, Mahalia S, and Jules K. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks, guys. It means a lot.